You have some weird stuff here, Dad.
Occupational hazard when you review TV, son.
Wonder Woman, The Middleman, Toxic Crusaders.
Leave that one alone. I've got plans for it.
Okay. Hey, Dad?
Yeah?
What's Bravestarr?
Bravestarr? Oh! Bravestarr. Yeah, it's an old sci-fi western cartoon from the 80s.
Is it any good?
You want to find out?
This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. TV party tonight! TV party tonight! TV party tonight! TV party tonight! We're gonna have a TV party tonight! Alright! We're gonna have a TV party, alright! Tonight! We've got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews. All our friends are gonna hang out here tonight. All right. We'll pass out on the couch. All right. Tonight. We've got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews. Don't talk about anything else. We don't wanna know. We're dedicated to our favorite shows. Saturday Night Live. Monday Night Football. Dynasty. Friday. No TV party tonight.
For the 90s, living in the wild, wild west.
I'm Dubious Khan, and with me is my son.
Hi, I'm Kao Khan.
And welcome into the Idiot Box, where we take a look at television of the past and present and try to figure out where things went so horribly, horribly wrong. And this is a special episode because I'm about to introduce my son here to the wonderfully cheap world that is Filmation.
I just asked about the show, Dad.
Don't interrupt my introduction, son. Today we're going to take a look at Filmation's last series that they produced before they closed their doors. It was a genre-bending, well-written, action-oriented epic of 80s awesomeness.
I thought you said you hated this show when you were a kid.
Do you want to be a part of this review or not?
Yes.
Okay. Now, where was I? Alright. A genre-bending, action-oriented, well-written...
We're watching Bravestarr.
Okay, Mr. Impatient, you give them the history then.
Gladly. Bravestarr premiered in September of 1987 and ran for 65 episodes in syndication, with the original run ending in early 1988. But, of course, the series ran in reruns for another couple of years after that. The show actually began with its primary villain, Tex Hex, established first. The character was originally created for Filmation's 1984 Ghostbusters series. Wait a minute.
That is not Ghostbusters.
Yes, it is.
We watched Ghostbusters last month. It did not feature a gorilla in a hat.
Look, I could explain, but it would take too long. Let me take it from here.
Since Filmation's Ghostbusters series had a rogues gallery of ghosts and other supernatural creatures from across all of history as the antagonists, Tex Hex was created as a villain from the Wild West. However, Filmation president Lou Scheimer saw the character design and thought there was a potential for something bigger for the character. He asked his creative team to develop a sci-fi western series with Tex as the main villain, and Bravestarr was the result.
And that's how it's done.
Okay, let me try again. Can I do the setting?
Sure, go ahead.
Bravestarr is set in the 23rd century on the planet of New Texas. For some reason, despite the high tech, everyone tends to dress as if it's the 19th century.
80s tune, son. Let it go. Move on.
Okay. Anyway, the reason New Texas is so important is because it has a ton of a rare mineral called carium, which is the most efficient starship fuel in the galaxy. Like the gold rush, this has brought a new slew of miners, settlers, and of course, criminals to New Texas.
And worse.
Worse?
Worse.
You just said Tex Hex was the main villain of the series, and sure, he's kind of creepy looking, but he's not really all that intimidating.
Holy buckets! What the heck is that?
And that would be Stampede, the ancient embodiment of all evil in the galaxy.
Where did it come from?
Well, he's always been there. Tex Hex does most of his dirty work.
Does the show ever explain where he came from?
Not really. Filmation series tend to just drop you right in the middle of the action and let the title sequence do all the explanation.
So there's no real explanation for where he came from.
Not in the show. Now, the movie, on the other hand...
Movie? What movie?
Bravestarr the Legend was a feature film which Filmation made to set up the series. However, the film did not do well. Basically, it played in only a handful of theaters and was actually released after the series had already begun.
But it does pretty much outline the rest of the series in a nutshell. So, we're going to break from format a little bit and take a look at Bravestarr the Legend.
We open in space!
You really want to rehash that old gag?
Hey, you said I could narrate. Anyway, a ship goes rocketing through the sky and we meet the shaman, who provides the exposition.
The time has come. The evil force lies in wait on the planet of New Texas below. It wants to destroy us, as it did our people.
The shaman goes into another section of the ship, where we see a young Bravestarr in some sort of life support capsule. In order to save him, the shaman endows him with the mystic power, and then sends the capsule out into space towards the Galactic Marshal's outpost, right before he crashes the ship into New Texas.
Well, there goes the budget for the rest of the series.
So we see the ship is merged with the mountain to become what is known as Star Peak, and the shaman survives. We then see...
Gophers with helmets?
Worse, the prairie people. But more on them later. We then go from Star Peak to the Badlands, where we find the fortress that will become known as the Hexagon. And inside we get our first look at Stampede.
Failure! A shaman survived. He whose powers equal my own is now on this planet. My dominion of evil is threatened. I need an ally.
So the real bad guy in the show is a demonic talking steer with sinus problems?
Basically, yes.
Cartoons you watched as a kid were weird, Dad.
Just for that, you can take over the narration here.
Fine. We then dissolve to a mining camp where we get our first look at a younger-looking Tex Hex, who has just double-crossed Angus McBride, his partner.
Come on! Move it, you varmints! Like that. How lucky can you get? Not only is this god-forsaken planet rich in therium, the rarest element in the universe, but it's also got this handy supply of furry critters to use as slaves. Ain't that wonderful, my dear ex-partner?
You inhuman monster. You've no right to treat them.
Shut up, McBride. You're lucky I let you live. Hey, get back to work, critter.
Okay, what is it with these furballs? Seriously, those things are annoying.
Just ignore them for now. They'll be relevant later. And more annoying.
My poor little girl. Daddy will be home soon.
No, he won't. Ain't no room for excess baggage, McBride. Including you.
You greedy fool! You'll overload the ship! That's too much therium!
I do not have the power, Captain. What?
You went for the Star Trek joke? Really?
You got anything better?
No.
As it turns out, McBride is right, and the ship crashes, killing Tex and paralyzing McBride. Shortly after this, McBride is rescued by the shaman. Tex, however, is found by Stampede and resurrected as his new lackey.
Greed, cruelty, evil. You are perfection itself. You shall serve me well.
Now these powers. Transformation! Destruction! And sorcery! Feel your new powers, my servant. Rise and face your master! Tex Hex!
Hey, Stampede. You got a little something hanging off of your face there, pal.
As McBride is rescued, a Carium nugget falls from his hand, and this triggers a rush to the planet. Stampede and the shaman provide the exposition, and we fast forward about 20 or so years, where Tex recruits assorted low-life outlaws on the planet to serve Stampede, including Sandstorm, Cactus Head, Vipera, and Thunderstick.
Cactus Head? Really?
Subtlety is not a virtue of 80s cartoons.
Nor of the shaman, apparently.
True.
So, naturally, the townspeople get fed up with the outlaws and gather together to complain about it.
I'm a get tired of having my stage robbed every day.
Hey, get out of here, you critters. This meeting's only for people. Get out!
Wait a second. Did they just use the word critters as a racial slur?
Pretty much. Casual racism. Hooray!
Anyway, Tex and his gang break up the meeting and more or less level the town. And the mayor begs for an army of marshals to restore order to the place.
We then go to a ship where we find... oh, Lord.
Bravestarr?
Bravestarr.
Bravestarr is awakened by a red-headed woman who, as it turns out, is the all-grown-up daughter of Angus McBride.
What are you looking at?
Oh, good. I'm awake. I was afraid you just might be a beautiful dream.
Oh, knock it off.
Name's Bravestarr, man.
Don't call me ma'am.
No, J.B., don't get snippy with the young fella. I'm Angus McBride. You must be one of the army of marshals New Texas is waiting for.
Well, yes and no. I'm a marshal, but there's no army, Mr. McBride. Just me, Bravestarr.
They only sent one marshal?
Well, there's only one uprising.
He's got you there, Father. Hi. I'm the new judge of New Texas. I guess we'll be working together, huh?
You're a galactic judge?
Yeah, that's right. Any objection?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It's just, you're awful pretty for a judge.
I'm also a good one. I'll thank you to remember that.
And, of course, the shaman knows Bravestarr's coming, but so does Stampede. And after Stampede tries to take down the ship, and Bravestarr nearly gets JB sucked out a window into a hard vacuum, the ship docks and Bravestarr is greeted warmly by the locals.
This place is a mess. But it looks like they got the welcome mat out for you, Judge. Well, you better let me hold your thing so you can wave at them.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Bravestarr. Oh, how nice of them. No, that can't be one of our marshals. No way.
Must be. He's wearing a star.
Well, where are all the others?
They must still be on the freighter.
Hello. Hi. Oh, it's nice to see you.
This must be a joke.
Thank you for coming to meet me. What a nice way to greet your new judge.
Gosh, we didn't come to see no judge lady. We're here to see our new marshals.
Ooh, you tricked me, Bravestarr.
Oh, no, ma'am. I wouldn't.
Don't bother denying it, Bravestarr. I know you did. You did it deliberately, just to embarrass me.
Pay no attention to her, Bravestarr. Unfortunately, my daughter inherited my hot temper, but...
Tex shows up to give Bravestarr a hard time and manages to get the drop on the Marshal and send him rocketing out into the desert with JB following close behind. Bravestarr has a bumpy ride and ends up crashing. He is, of course, saved by the shaman.
Meanwhile, JB has a breakdown and is attacked by a couple of dingoes. But before they can do anything, the judge is abducted and pulled underground by a couple of prairie people. The shaman triggers a flashback and we see how Stampede destroyed their home planet before the two of them escaped into space.
I have waited for this moment.
For all my life?
Oh, Lord.
After an overblown sequence where Bravestar's powers are unlocked, we cut to JB where she awakens to find...
Where Who are you?
Alright, what's with the one with the oversized hat?
Okay, the prairie people are the indigenous natives of the planet of New Texas, and much like the Native Americans before them, they're getting the shaft by the settlers. They dig like gophers, which means they're pretty apt for life on a mining planet. The one with the oversized hat is Fuzz, and he's going to become a regular.
As JB begins communicating with Fuzz, the shaman sends Bravestarr out to find a weapon to aid in his fight with Tex Hex. He arrives at an ancient ruin and explores it. Finding a futuristic shotgun sitting on an altar, Bravestarr goes to take it, but hears something moving around, which turns out to be a cyborg horse.
Bravestar's about to get his butt whooped, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Say hello to 7 feet of unstoppable equinoid badass. 30-30.
Sure are a funny-looking horse, aren't you, boy? We'll find your owner later. Right now, I better get what I came for.
You did not seem evil, so I gave you a chance. But I see now that you have come to plunder like all the others.
No, wait, I can explain.
Lies!
The two fight and the place comes crashing down. 30-30 plans on dying in the collapse, but Bravestar's having none of that nonsense and rescues the stubborn jackass.
You all right?
Reckon so. Figure you knocked some sense into me. I guess I owe you one.
Nah. I say we're even.
Nope. Not yet.
Now we're even.
Of course, the cool can't last forever. So it's back to the prairie people where the Russian ambassador, or something, gives JB a new set of clothes, a fixed turbo mule, and a weapon called the Hammer of Justice.
I've failed, Great One. You sent me to get the great weapon. But I failed. I could not bring myself to take it from 30-30, its rightful owner.
You did not fail, Bravestarr. I did not send you to get another toy. I sent you after a great weapon. One that you could trust with your life. This you have found. It is called friendship.
Make notes, people. According to 2 major 80s cartoon franchises, friendship is both magic and a weapon.
We shall use friendship to crush and destroy our enemies!
Hooray!
Anyway, Bravestarr and 3030 reunite with JB and Fuzz, and all four head back to the town, just as Tex and his gang show up to annihilate the place. The whole crew rides in to do the animation that will be used in the title sequence of the TV show, and make short work of the outlaws. But the shaman shows up to dump more exposition, stating the town has 24 hours to prepare before Tex rides out again.
Back at the Hexagon, Tex has brought every low-life scumbag on the planet to serve as Stampede's army. But Stampede decides that while outlaws are good, a few reinforcements couldn't hurt.
You amuse me, Hex. An army of vermin, cowards, and cheats. With such as these, you would attack Bravestarr?
Win.
Maybe. And maybe not. When you are ready to attack again, I shall summon my servants from the very sands of the desert to help you.
Yeah, that's what every army needs. Deserters!
Go to the corner and think about what you've done.
Oh, jeez.
As the town preps for Tex's attack, Bravestarr has a chat with Fuzz and discovers the prairie people have a knack for building technology, and states that the town needs their help. The mayor doesn't agree.
We've got a problem, Marshal. Even with everybody working at hyperspeed, we are not going to be done by tomorrow.
We're in trouble.
Then we need more workers.
Oh, more? We've got every citizen in the place working already. Where are we going to find more?
Right here.
Oh, opposite duties, opposite duties. Prairie people good at building stuff. I go get...
No, hold on there, Marshal. We don't want the help of these pesky critters.
It's time to put aside all prejudice, Mayor. We need their help. By the way, I was just telling Fuzz that if I ever hear anybody call him Critter, I'd bounce their bottoms right out of town.
No, just wait a minute, Marshal. I was the one who hired you here in the first place.
That doesn't make you above the law, Mayor. Right, Judge?
That's right, Marshal. So, Mayor, are you going to apologize or make like a rubber ball?
Oh, all right. I apologize.
Oh, goodies, goodies. And I'll fix your ticker thing, too. Prairie people is good at that.
Amazing. Oh, sir, I can see we need your people's help very badly. And we'd be right grateful for any assistance you could give us.
So the prairie people help upgrade the town's defenses, Bravestarr and JB have a romantic moment that serves no purpose, and as dawn comes, Tex rides out to take out the town.
Hey! They're coming. That activation machinery ready yet?
Still need some more minutes, Bravestarr. Oh, not done yet.
I'll try to buy us some time then, but hurry.
Yes, sir.
Bravestarr tries to slow down the gang, and after a couple of setbacks, he and 3030 buy the town the time they need. But Tex isn't letting them go without a fight, and summons the old Filmation staple of a giant rock monster to...
What was that?
About $5 grand worth of animation right down the toilet.
Tex summons Stampede, who in turn raises an army of gigantic, undead demon cattle to take on the town. Bravestarr and company wisely get out of there, and back to town where we discover that the new defenses essentially turns the town into a fortress.
Why does it turn into a fortress?
Because we need some sort of gimmick for the playset when it eventually gets released to go with the action figures.
The demon cattle attack the town fights back, prolonged action sequence with mass destruction punctuated with alleged suspense, and eventually Bravestarr calls in the shaman.
Shaman, it's time! No! Stampede! Across space and time, the moment has come.
Heed my words, my son, for I speak to you with much sarcasm concerning the overblown exposition the shaman's dialogue seems to be comprised exclusively of.
So anyways,
the shaman apparently gets cut down by Stampede, and Bravestarr goes to the rescue where he gets his butt kicked by Tex and Stampede. Fuzz tries to help him but gets blasted, which is where Bravestarr gets his resolve to toss Tex over the horizon.
He then takes up the shaman's staff and faces down Stampede, causing the demon to be severely wounded and withdraw all his forces back to the hexagon to lie in wait until the series proper starts.
The evil has been conquered. Good has triumphed at last. I can rest.
I shall rest in my bed of the silken sheets and my massive collection of questionable reading materials.
So, to wrap this up, Bravestarr makes Fuzz a deputy, and the two of them and JB ride off into the sunset. Or sunrise. Whatever.
And that's Bravestarr the Legend. So what'd you think?
I liked it.
Okay, the animation is kind of cheap, and some of the dialogue is really cheesy, and the story doesn't really amount to much. But it's got some decent characters, and some of the animation sequences were fun to watch. I kind of want to see some of the actual episodes now.
As for me, despite the extremely bare-bones plot, the writing is pretty solid. Characters and situations are introduced in exciting ways, and even Fuzz and the Prairie People, which amount to the annoying cute/funny comic relief in this series, have something to do, and are at least interesting to look at. Some of the animation, particularly that of Tex, Hex, and Stampede, is gorgeous, flowing smoothly and making the two look genuinely intimidating, or occasionally, funny.
As I mentioned earlier, Bravestarr the Legend had its release after the TV series had already begun. If you couple that with the fact that it was only in a limited number of theaters, yeah, you've got a recipe for a box office flop. Filmation was clearly trying to throw everything they could into the film and the TV series in order to turn things around for the studio, but it wasn't to be. Filmation closed its doors shortly thereafter, and their last finished project, Happily Ever After, was released in theaters in 1993, where it was also a box office flop.
So, can we watch more episodes?
Well, we're actually in luck there. A few years ago, BCI Eclipse released the entire series over 2 volumes on DVD. Shortly after this, BCI actually went bankrupt itself, and the rights were picked up by Mill Creek Entertainment. Now, the advantage to the Mill Creek release is you can now get the entire run of Bravestarr for about $20 on DVD. But if you're looking for a copy of Bravestarr the Legend, the only DVD release it's had so far is in BCI's The Best of Bravestarr collection. So if you're looking to see the movie, your best bet is to try to track down a used copy somewhere.
So we can watch more episodes.
After we sign off. You ready?
Ready.
All right. I'm Dubious Khan.
And I'm Kao Khan.
Join us next time for another trip into the Idiot Box. All right. I'll get the DVDs. You get the popcorn.
Right.
Waiting for my baby.